Stephen King tweeted
Oh my
that was on his
gosh.
reading pile. And
Oh my gosh.
so he did it once, which you're
Man.
like, oh, wow, that's big.
Yeah.
And then I'm watching this interview with Stephen King, and he talks about it again. And I'm like, how much publicity does this guy need? Let's spread that around a little bit. But then the hosts of it were like, oh, yeah, we read that book too. We really like it. We got some to give away. So about 5 minutes
Yeah.
of the program got to be about Blacktop Wasteland.
Oh
And I
man.
imagine there's some people in your life that are kind of jealous about that. And we can talk about it later. But I'm definitely jealous. But I'm really excited for you because I'm like, well, I must be right. If Stephen King likes the book this much, obviously I'm onto something. What was that like for you?
Oh my
Because
gosh, man.
it's essentially it's your second novel, even though you
Yeah,
published some
yeah.
stuff before, and you're still kind of trying to work your way up, and then suddenly Stephen King can't stop talking about your book. I can't imagine what that does to
Man,
your head and how you try to get around it and everything.
okay, so first of all, I'm like millions and millions of other people. Stephen King is one of my favorite writers, one of my writing heroes. He's on the Mount Rushmore with Walter Moses, Dennis Lehane, Raymond Chandler, and other writers that I really, really, really adore. And for me personally, and I know you picked this up. You feel I don't know if you might feel similar. Because when you read a Stephen King book, a lot of times, he's Stephen King, so he has the power to do this. He does a foreword or afterword or something. And especially when I was younger, when I was like 12 or 13, reading Salem's Lot or Carrie, or the big three, the first three, Salem's Lot, Carrie, and Shining, you kind of feel like he's talking to you
Yeah,
personally. He calls he calls it the constant reader or whatever, but those afterwords and forewords are very folksy. They're very comfortable, and so I felt a very strong kinship with Stephen King at an early age, and then you go and you read it and and of course, like a lot of people, as I got older, my taste changed a little bit, but, every time a Stephen King book came out, it was always, yeah, I got to go by the bookstore and get that. I got to check it out. Some of them I like more than others, some of them I didn't care for, but I'm never bored with his books, and he will always have a special place for me because I read him so young. I started reading Stephen King books when I was like 11, 12.
hmm
My aunt would read them, and then she would give them to me. And they were the first books that I really consider grown-up books that I read. These
yeah,
weren't, Three Investigators or Super Fudge. These were real books, and these were talking about not just scary monsters and vampires and telekinetic kids and ghosts, but real life stuff. Jack Torrance. And I grew up, again, I don't think my father would dispute that he had a problem with alcohol, but again, he wasn't violent, but but he was a very friendly man outside of his marriage. I'll put it like that. And so,
right, yeah,
as a kid, when you read about Jack Torrance, I didn't have that experience that Danny has, but I was around somebody who changed when they drank alcohol.
hmm
Or if you read Salem's Lot, I didn't live in a small town in New England, but I knew that town.
yeah,
Our town had the town. Our town had the supposed fast woman, which you find out when you grow up. A lot of women aren't fast; they just not listening. They're not letting men tell them what to do.
right,
But whatever. So I've always had this almost, in my mind, a personal relationship with Stephen King,
yeah,
and so to see him talk about my book in a video link and then tweet about it later and really, really, complimentary. It was almost like being in the Twilight Zone. It was very surreal.
yeah,
It was like it felt like an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents or some weird speculative supernatural story because I just never thought it would happen ever. And the funny thing is, I was writing when that went down. Somebody texted me and was like, "Hey, are you watching this bookstore's live stream?" And I was like, "No, I'm writing. I'm trying to finish these revisions." And trying to find new ways to kill people with shovels, and so like my friend was like, "You got to go on there, man. I think they're talking about you." So I went on and it was on the YouTube thing, so I could actually back it up a little bit because I'd actually missed it. And when he said it, man, I was floored. I literally like went out in the living room and laid down on the couch.